I'm ready when you are.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Oh.
I didn't want to. I didn't know.
Oh, no, I was just waiting. I was waiting for the signal.
Oh yeah. We're good to go whenever.
All right. I'm going to perform a song entitled "The Slipper." It only takes one bad step to fall down the stairs. Take a walk in my shoes, probably slip on the laces. Walk 10 paces, and most people split when the slipper don't fit. When you really feel low, slip to your favorite places. A lonely mind traces like chalk on cement that the pavement soon forgets. Tell me, where were you? Slipping out of view. Sitting there, just us two. Where were your eyes slipping to? Some me then, just a few of those dreams that can't come true. Blow steam, I can't see through. For when my eyes grow wide, I'm like a slip and slide. Most of the curbside, and I backslide to the wrong side of the tracks. And all my good nature, just an act. Thought I'd have a sip to wet my lips, wasn't slipping yet, but now I'm dripping wet. Paid the price and I ain't tipping shit. What happens when the rope rips and that grip slips? Do I go down the ship, lay on the ground, take the whip? Oh, I just hope that copper Lincoln don't flip. Wanna play with fire, all 10 fingers like matches. Every itch your hand scratches leaves burns and scars so your whole soul's charred. Want a taste of the sweet life, always cooking fresh batches. Shove it down your hatches, whether you swallow or spit, you'll always taste it. Denial, denial, denial. Oh, yourself one, it's been a while. Denial, denial, denial. Gold teeth on a slimy smile. Denial, denial, denial. Always gonna answer, you know the number to dial. Denial, denial, denial. Star witness when you're on trial. Drugs and sex, TV and checks, slip from one to the next. Maybe hereditary, that's arbitrary, your mileage may vary. Denial, my problem probably stems from this, that, or them. Denial, I said cleverly, them not me, like I knew what the weather would be. Have you had enough? Have you learned your lesson? That's a loaded question. The moral of the story is often lost or blurry. Always chasing that high, and it loves to be chased. You can't keep its pace, so don't run a marathon with only slippers on. Tell me, where was I? Slipping up my own lies. So much I've compromised, couldn't even look myself in the eye. I'm swarmed by flies as the person I was dies. Go back counterclockwise, would I make that same mistake twice with a different vice? All my brains got lice and I'm itching for bad advice. And those whispers turn to screams, living the dream and I can't wake up. Sweet angel's wings got clipped, even so clean to the floor lick, but it was still wasn't slick, so she slipped, got hooked nice and quick on that spicy kick. Tongue froze to an icy dick, just trying to get a lick. Now just trying to turn a trick. Oh, it's more than a mosquito you can flick. You gotta burn that tick. shoes, they're a size too large. Your feet not in charge, and though they may slip, you're the one on the bad trip. Thank you.
I love that. We're going to do a quick cut just because you don't have to touch anything, but I'm just going to slant some things over so that we're not looking at the side of your face the whole time.
All right.
Okay. Guys, welcome back to Jacob V Weekly. You were just listening to The Slipper by Drogo. We just met. And a mutual friend reached out to me on Instagram and said, hey, there's this great show happening on June 9th at the Focal Point, and I'd love to submit a guest for your podcast to promote it. I said, my God, that sounds so interesting. What are we talking about? And he sent me the promotional materials for a Drogo farewell.
A Drogo's farewell, yes.
A Drogo's farewell. And so why is it a farewell?
I am making a exodus out of St. Louis, and a lot of my I've lived here my whole life, and all my closest friends and musical partners live here, and I wanted to throw together a selection of my favorite songs and play them with my best friends for everyone I know.
I love that. It sounds like a dream come true. And so you grew up in St. Louis mostly?
I have lived in St. Louis my entire life. A few blocks from here on Milence, actually was the house I was born into.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, right over here.
So, are your parents from here too, or did they?
Yes, they were both born here. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. I don't know why I anticipate. I thought originally with some of the stuff I looked up on you ahead of time, I thought you were like here temporarily and going somewhere else. That's
no,
so funny.
I've been here.
Okay, good.
I haven't been as involved in the public-facing side of music for a few years.
Sure.
But with this farewell, it's kind of a return as well, and it feels very good.
Yeah, it's like a reunion. And
True.
And yes. It's like a reunion farewell tour.
So they can be more than one thing at once. Yes. Yeah.
Now, one thing I was concerned about having you down here is often on YouTube I've seen you play a vibraphone. Is that correct?
I think that's what most people recognize me playing is the vibraphone and the marimba. Yes.
Yeah. And so, how long have you been doing that?
I started playing the vibraphone in 2015, and I fell in love with it. It combines the excitement of playing drums or any other percussion instrument with the aspect of the piano keyboard.
Yeah.
And I just took to it. The physicality of it I enjoyed much more because I play a variety of instruments, but the mallet instruments are the things I physically enjoy playing the most.
Yeah.
So
I think the only reason someone would hesitate to agree with you is because if you're a novice to one of those instruments, it feels kind of frustrating because it feels like it requires a huge amount of precision. What do people normally get wrong about that?
Well, okay. The precision.
In your own opinion, you don't have to speak for the whole marimba community.
Well, I don't really know the marimba community, honestly.
We could use more of one,
I think
maybe.
the problem is that those instruments are both a spatial investment because they are large.
Yeah.
And they're just an investment because they're not accessible like buying a reasonably priced guitar or a keyboard.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people don't get to experience them. If they had the opportunity to, which my first vibraphone I got on a very good deal, and from there I blossomed on it and I decided to get a nicer model. So I think it's just not as accessible. I think as far as the difficulty of the instrument, it's not that difficult. I would say it's easier than the piano.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's certainly less octaves to worry about. The
standard one only has 3 octaves.
Yeah, and the keys themselves are bigger. And so did you play piano before you moved over to those?
I didn't focus on piano until I'd already become proficient in the vibraphone.
Yeah.
I had played piano here and there, written some songs on it, but I became serious about piano around the same time I became serious about the vibraphone, and I moved. I would say piano and vibraphone are the things I do the most now.
Yeah. So what did you start with very first?
My very first instrument was the guitar, and it's a very good learner's instrument.
Yeah.
It's so accessible. There's so many resources to research how you want to play it, And because there's so many other guitar players that you can meet, you can learn from them. The unfortunate part about marimba and vibraphone is we're few and far between, so you don't really get to connect with that many. When you do, it's great, but...
Yeah, I mean, for every 10,000 guitar videos on YouTube, there's probably one marimba or vibraphone.
That sounds like an accurate statistic.
And a lot of it's going to be much more academic. It's not going to have like kind of the rock and roll flair.
Sure,
like I taught at School of Rock for a while.
Oh, nice.
So like I got to like teach guitar, but also kind of in this packaged thing of it's rock and roll and it's fun and we're learning AC/DC.
Yeah.
You know, we're not learning Twinkle Twinkle type of thing. And I like to think about that because we also promoted multi-instrumentalism. So we really wanted like, hey, listen, you play bass most of the time, but if you want to play drums on something,
or
if you want to, absolutely. And people that want to study drums academically, they always also study keyboard or voice or both.
It does help.
And for that kind of thing. So did you go to school for music?
I have no formal music training.
That's great. I love that because it sounds like I play keyboard a lot, but I don't necessarily have the chops to kind of play the kind of piece I just watched you play, in the sense of the left-right hand autonomy and whatnot.
It took a while,
and it looks as if it kind of has a classic sort of vibe in its approach. Like the timbre and whatnot is eloquent.
That's good. I would say a good portion of the music I enjoy is compositional music, but I don't know how to read, and that is to the great frustration of a lot of the people I work with, because the pieces are complicated and the way I convey them is a little unconventional.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be probably your first step, is how to communicate a piece that's difficult. Kind of eclectic and kind of diverse like that to a group. Like if I have songs that are like, I have a song that I play all the time. It's just like a 12-bar blues. So I could play that with anybody. I've played it with literal children, and
that's good.
Because you can communicate that and kind of let them get off on their own a little bit more than, for example, the piece we just witnessed.
Yes, of course.
So you typically, you play with a drummer a lot?
I'll introduce the group for the show on the 9th, and I've played with all of them. I'll start in chronological order. Mr. Parker Volland is my closest friend, and we have been playing music together since we were 15 and 16, and we have really developed together. He is not only a great friend and father and musician, he's a great teacher. He has helped me improve my skills. He's classically trained. He's a very, very good musician. Helps. He plays piano. That's his original instrument. Both stand-up and electric bass, accordion, guitar, also the vibraphone and the marimba. He is just very knowledgeable, patient, and naturally talented. And I'm so glad to have him not only as a close friend, but as someone who's working with me.
Yeah.
And then the next, the percussionist who we'll be working with is Mr. Rick Vaughn, one of the best drummers in all of St. Louis. Again, his technical knowledge is far beyond mine. He is like a technical assassin. It's like there's many different ways to approach the drums. The way he would assassinate you is you wouldn't even know it. But some drummers, like, they're going to cut your head off and it's very obvious. But he's very precise. And he has great taste, great timing, and it's just great to work with. And then the final member of the group is Miss Jess Atkins. You might know her from the Opera Bell Band, the So Grand Polka Band, and the Goldenrods.
Oh yeah, we know them.
Yeah, she is incredibly talented. Again, another multi-instrumentalist, and she's just talented all over the board. She does everything: gardening, arts, crafts, and she's just great with advice and very patient with me as well with the difficult way we learn these songs. Yeah.
And so for the show on the 9th with them, are you doing multiple sets, or are there other acts also?
No other acts. It's just us. It's about an hour and 15 or 20 minute set. We have shaved back the set a little bit due to the nature of this show is not something I usually do.
Yeah.
We decided to do the show about a month and a half ago. Usually when I'm with the group, we are rehearsing, I would say, 3 to 5 nights a week, a few hours a night. For this show, we threw it together. I had the pieces, and Parker and Rick already know a few of them. but we have new arrangements of them because we're working with different musicians.
Sure.
So it's not the way I prefer to do stuff because I'm very precise about the rehearsal of these things. But I'm just happy that we're all together doing it.
Yeah, so it'll be maybe a little less refined than you're used to, but it sounds like it's going to be a really positive experience.
I think that the reason I cut it back is so we could just refine a smaller number rather than giving people a larger batch.
Yeah, totally. So, and this is Monday night?
It is a Monday night.
I happen to be free that night. That may be a must. That may be a must see.
It's going to be very enjoyable from my standpoint.
Yeah.
But it's a production. We have went all out as far as the outfits, the presentation, everything. It's going to be filmed professionally as well by Mr. Brandon Sloan.
Oh, yeah.
And then Rick, who is also a recording engineer and the percussionist, and Mr. Jacob Hurst, who also of the Opera Bell Band.
Right.
And they'll all. It's a really good combination of people working together, and I just hope that I can live up to their standards.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that'll be great. And then, and I'd be happy to help out in the way of anything that happens in post. Because how soon are you leaving?
I leave 2 days after that.
Okay, so that's what I was saying. So
it's an actual farewell show.
Yeah. Getting right on the boat. You're releasing new material that day also?
I am.
Okay,
yes.
That was the next thing I wanted to get to, because is that song already out?
That song was actually cut from the album we're putting out, but we're recording a live album at the show.
Okay.
So the live performance of that one will be put out, The Slipper. The album we're putting out is a duo album between me and Rick Vaughn. We recorded it back in 2022, and it has just been ready to go, and this is the perfect time to put it out.
Yeah.
It's a collection of 8 songs of ours, and we're very proud of it. It's called Step Inside the Circle. So
Okay, and that's the one that's not out yet. That's
not out yet.
Yeah, so how many releases have you done before that?
With my first group from 2000... I think our first official release was 2014.
Okay.
We put out 4 albums, and then the soundtrack to the movie Somewhere in Old Missouri, and then I put out a series of 10 EPs with the help of Mr. Parker Volland and Andrew Radence. And that, I think there's like 33 songs over those 10 EPs. And then we're going to have this new album coming out, and then after it's finished processing, this live album. So I would say... 4, 5, plus the 10 EPs, so 15 total releases, 5 long plays, and then the 10 EPs.
That's plenty of material. I listened to some of it ahead of time to know exactly what to talk about, but I saw there was so much of it in there. Now, you mentioned, was that a band you were in that did the soundtrack for?
Yes, I was in a group called Mother Meat from 2012 to 2020. And we made the film Somewhere in Old Missouri with the help of my good friend and director, Tom Boyer.
I feel like I've heard of that, is why I wanted to come back to it.
We did promote it a lot in St. Louis. It came out in 2022 or 23.
Yeah.
And we spent 5 years working on that from 2017 up until it came out.
What is the nature of the film?
It was, so we described it as a how do I say, supernatural Midwestern musical. It's a period piece that takes place in 2 time periods: the year the Great Depression hit and about 1938, vaguely. In those time periods, I composed the music for it. The group and I acted in it. I sang songs in it, and the score is us throughout the entire film.
That's amazing. That sounds like
something.
a real dream project to work on. Who wrote it?
Myself and Mr. Tom Boyer, the director.
And is it available somewhere right now?
It is for free on YouTube right now, and there are also selected clips on YouTube if you just want to watch the musical sequences.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's smart. That's smart too, because that's such a huge part of a musical. So many songs. You'll appreciate this because you like some older stuff back when composers were the big guys
Yes.
that like everyone loved, that a lot of the songs that went on to be jazz standards were
course.
from musicals.
Oh yes, I'm
And-
a big musical fan.
Yeah, and I think some of the best, Total Eclipse of the Heart by Bonnie Tyler was written for a vampire musical that Jim
Oh, yeah?
Steinman wrote.
I've
And
never heard of that before. Okay.
Totally, the song "Total Eclipse of the Heart"?
Oh, yeah, it's a very famous song.
So Jim Steinman was Meatloaf's guy. He wrote all the songs for Meatloaf.
Yeah.
And he wrote that song, but it turns out he had originally written it not for Bonnie Tyler, but for a musical about vampires, and I forget what it was called.
Well, that would have been an interesting context. to hear.
I know, that would be so good. And so some of this stuff, the thing that I'm noticing a theme between is that some of this stuff seems really ambitious in a way that maybe intimidates other maybe potential collaborators.
Oh yeah.
And so I think I could definitely like hang out and get excited and talk about a great idea, but seeing it through, like the point of a feature-length film that's also a musical and produced independently,
It's a lot of work.
You know what I mean? So what did you notice about actually getting that project done? What made that happen successfully? Even though you said it took a couple of years, but
Yeah. So I had always wanted to do it. Tom has always wanted to do it, and the time just seemed perfect. The preparation for it was very intense. I took 3 months of horse riding lessons. We built the sets. We got the permits to film at some historical sites. The costumes, the composition of the music. It was all a very long process. Coordinating with a crew that is working mostly pro bono is also difficult because, for some people it can't take priority over their life. But it got done. Some scenes I will cut from being a certain age to 5 years later, and it's not as noticeable, but I did have to keep a consistent facial hair and everything. So.
yeah, little things like that, because if
Yeah.
you're shooting over multiple days, or especially if it takes weeks to
It
get...
takes years, and then we would watch it, and we would be like, we cannot put it out, because we actually got better at the filmmaking process.
While you're doing it.
While you're doing it, it was like, well, we made this 2 years ago, but now we're 2 years better. We have to reshoot the whole thing.
Yeah.
So
How many times did you have to do stuff like that?
Oh,
At least a couple?
man, the whole hodgepodge of work that took kind of all blurs together because there was so much of it. But I know there was a whole section of the movie we added the year it came out because we were like, well, this is the finished product, but it's missing something, and we came up with this idea that really made it cohesive. And
Yeah.
it worked. I was so happy about it.
I'm not going to ask you to spoil it because people can go watch it on YouTube. I'm going to put it
Yeah.
in the comments of the episode we're going to put out by tomorrow. The show is coming up this Monday, and so are you playing any stuff from the film in the show on Monday?
Yes, we are.
Because I didn't know, because it would be a shame if you did a whole musical and then kind of it was stuck in its own thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then you couldn't do it otherwise.
Yeah,
So,
ironically, the song that people come up to me and say is their favorite of mine was one from the film, and in the film we are a rural Missouri band from that time period playing that sort of music. I fell in love with rural music around 2016, and I was very into the square dance and other styles of rural and folk music, and I composed songs in that style, and they're a lot different than what I usually do, but people seem to like those a lot more.
yeah, yeah, it's got to be because some of that is frustrating. But I've had this experience. Lucius, who produces this show a lot, and I did an album together maybe 10 or 12 years ago. And by the time I got to the end of it, I'm like, oh, well, okay, so now we should start all over now that we know how to do it. Because, like, the first couple songs you do, you have to do them all linearly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so the first couple songs you do, you learn stuff. And it's like, well, at some point, you just got to figure out how to just let it go and let it be what it is, because you could always keep polishing it. But then you have Chinese Democracy on your hands. Do you know that album?
That Guns N' Roses album.
Yeah, it took like 17 years and like as many millions of dollars. And it was fine. Some of the riffs are good.
Yeah, I'm not as much of a fan of their music, so I never heard it, but I do know the story about the frustrating aspect of it.
Yeah.
People were waiting for it to come out for a long time.
Yeah, and so, that's just kind of like a popular benchmark for what to avoid, I think, in that case.
Oh, yeah.
So, 8 songs, but what's the runtime on the new?
I think it comes out to 45 minutes.
Okay, see, so that's the thing, because 8 songs doesn't sound like a lot until you realize that they're longer and more elaborate, and some people 8 songs is 20 minutes, and some people 8 songs is 45.
The finale of that album is probably the longest continuous piece I've ever made at 10.5 minutes. I'm very proud of it. It's a song called "I Can't Picture Your Face," and it took me years to finish it. And Rick and I came together. The arrangement is so great. I'm so thankful to have him around to do it, and I hope people enjoy it as much as I do.
Yeah, and where do you record all that stuff?
I owned a studio in South City from 2016 till March of this year.
Which one?
It was a private. I didn't. It was only because
I didn't know if it was one I would know.
Yeah, it was one that I used because a lot of the instruments I play are so large.
Right.
So to house all them, I had purchased an abandoned hair salon and flipped it into the
That's
space.
like another dream of mine.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
But we got really good sounds out of it. I had all my instruments set up there. Now they're all either being fostered by my close friends or they are packed up at the moment. So a lot of them are in limbo, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. How long do you plan to be gone? Indefinitely?
Indefinitely.
Yeah, okay. So, the one thing you said that I wanted to draw attention to is something about composition. You're attracted to... It was way earlier.
Oh, the rural music?
Well, yeah. Okay, so let's start there.
Okay.
Is that stuff cataloged differently? Is it harder to access and learn some of that rural music from 100 years ago?
Oh, I would say no, because it's for the most part the people recording this. Some of them were not technically professional musicians, but they played. The songs from afar are incredibly simple. Oh, it's the G chord, it's the C chord, it's all this. It's the nuances and how you perform them, which is the difficult part. And I really like how myself and the group came together, and we did some interpretations of old songs, and then I wrote songs in that style as well. But yeah, I was very entranced in particularly the quick square dance music, and to the displeasure of anyone who had to be in a car with me for those few years.
Yeah.
I was always listening to it, and they'd be like, "Hey, come on, we got to listen to something else for a little bit." Especially when we were touring or out of town, it would be like a 5-hour drive, and I wouldn't want to listen to nothing but fiddle music.
That was sort of my next question, is buy-in from your collaborators. Like, how many people ended up being in that film?
Oh, well, my main group of Andrew Radins and Parker Volland, and then Tom, the director, also starred in it. We tried to have as few people acting as possible. A lot of our friends and family were the extras, but we tried to not focus on speaking roles. We wanted to focus on our strong point, which was the music and the atmosphere. So there is dialogue and everything. It's a conventional film, but the music is the focal point.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's tickets for Monday.
They're just at the door.
Okay.
A lot of, I would say, they said the capacity is 140 people. There are 4 people in the band, and I know that everyone that I'm close to, either related to, and then Parker as well, and a lot of our families are going to be there. There's going to be a limited availability.
Yeah, that's what I think, because the focal point's not big, but it's great for this exact...
I love the space.
It's great for this exact kind of thing.
We shot part of the film there.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Do you have a relationship with somebody who books that or something?
No, it's just online. There's a number you call to rent it, and they're so easy.
Yeah.
They're so easy. It's so affordable for such a good space.
Yeah.
And, they're great.
And to be able to set it up where you know you can rely on the infrastructure for all the recording and stuff you want to do
sure.
too.
They
Is there
have
a visual
nice
component to the show you explained?
Visual, as far as in, I was very particular about our wardrobe.
Good.
I have a custom fit velvet tuxedo for the event, so I was really excited to break that out too.
Yeah, that's exciting. Because that's the I'm trying to picture the focal point. I didn't know if there was a screen. I did a show in December where a band set their set to like a I think it probably comes down. I did a set for a band where they set their whole set to a film. I don't remember the film, but it was playing behind them. They had kind of planned it that way, more loosely than maybe I'm making it sound. But it was.
Well, I've seen a lot of good performances like that.
Yeah, and there's a band in town, or was called Vice Grip or Vice Grips, maybe, where they like do improvised soundscapey kind of things to pieces of film that they perform with.
I saw Rats and People Orchestra. I don't know if they're still around, but they had a vibraphone. They were very good. I saw them play, I believe, to Nosferatu, but that was like maybe 10 or so years ago, but it was a very good performance.
Is there a vibraphone experience that you could recreate electronically, or is it still a really special thing?
There is something called a marimba lumina, which is an electric one. I've never played one myself. I've seen professional people play it, and I think it's just more of a they're a pain to disassemble and move. If you're touring around the world or something, unless you're really set up, you probably cannot bring your vibraphone or your marimba.
Yeah.
So they travel. I think it condenses to maybe like a large
like
suitcase.
a keyboard or something. Yeah.
But I've thought about getting one because I will be moving and I won't be able to take mine, but I'll still want to play all the time.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, you could probably get one over there.
Yeah.
A lot of those more exotic seeming ideas for instruments, they kind of pop up in the market over there. Sometimes I see something on like Reverb and I think it's really cool, and then I'm like, oh wait, it's in Japan. I'm not going to import something in this economy. Forget about it.
It's difficult.
So what I want to do is sort of describe, we heard one piece, but I sort of want to describe the music for people that haven't heard it yet, who maybe are interested in hearing it. And I don't want to speak for you.
Yeah.
How do you usually approach that conversation?
Yeah. So there's two genres we've coined between Rick and I. We call our music delicacy music. Just like at a nice restaurant, they're very particular about the ingredients. They're very particular about the presentation. This is a delicacy. This is a piece of art that we have very specifically made and are putting out. And we put the stamp of this is a delicacy. This is our product on it. Parker and I, we call the pieces we make sometimes sweet and sour music.
Yeah.
I have a very sweet way of playing, and he has kind of a sour tart way of playing. And when you put them together, they meld and create like a very nice balance. We have even a song that we named after our style of music called the Sweet and Sour Serenade. It's a piano duet we play, and it's a very it encapsulates that genre that we coined.
Yeah. Are people going to be switching instruments a lot during the show? Okay, that's what I anticipated.
Mid-song.
Yeah.
Even. Yeah, it's going to be lightning fast switches. Myself, Parker, Jess, and then Rick, even he'll have different percussions he'll be switching between.
Yeah, because I have a band I play, and people act like I'm a genius because I'll have a guitar, I'll be playing guitar, and then I'll come up for a keyboard or a synth part, and I go back and forth in the middle of a song. But that's kind of the most rudimentary version of what you're talking about, because we're talking not just about pianos and guitars, but also and percussion, but things you don't see every day. Like you're not the only one that plays the vibraphone or the marimba.
I am not. Both Jess and Parker, but Jess is an amazing mallet player.
Yeah,
and Parker as well. They will all be chipping in on that. But yeah, but the technique I found that's best to switch is if I'm playing guitar, I love to play the solos on the vibraphone, not the guitar.
Yeah.
So with a guitar, you just throw it on your back, and then you switch, and then you throw it back, then you
strap locks.
Yes, you got to.
You got, because if you're gonna, because sometimes I get lazy, and I'll just have a normal strap on there, and I'll go to swing it, and I'm like, man, I hope it stays on there, because that would really ruin. My solo that'll
ruin a set.
And so when you start to write some of these pieces, you mostly sit at a piano?
I would say now, yes. But there's also a physicality to it.
Because that's the thing, because sitting at the piano, like you were describing, is very different from the mallet experience.
Oh, of course. And the stuff I like to play on the mallet instruments, the stuff I like to play on guitar, and the stuff I like to play on piano are all very different.
Yeah.
And just since I don't read or write, I'm experiencing the music physically first. And wherever my hand feels like going, I'll be playing around, and then I'll stumble on something. And it's just like if you're in a new town or a new experience, you're walking around with no direction. You have a general idea of what you feel like doing, but then you make a turn and you find something, and you're like, oh, this is exciting. I'm going to go down this path. And that's the way I've kept it exciting and how I enjoy writing songs.
So, common influences that we could attach.
Okay.
For you. So if you're as a songwriter or a composer, who are like some of the people that you constantly feel like you draw influence from?
Well, there are composers, but there's also performers who don't write their own pieces. I am a huge fan of Frank Sinatra and also Judy Garland. Judy Garland was the inspiration for me putting the show together. Her album, Live at Carnegie Hall, is one of my favorites, and for her, it was a collection of all songs she picked, and it was her way. There was no backup dancers or anything. This show was about her, what she wanted to sing, and she killed it. And I was thinking for what potentially could be my last performance here, or hopefully not, but maybe.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it that way. But they're two of my favorite performers, but I'm a huge record collector. I could talk for 5 hours about everyone I enjoy.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's great. There's a girl here named Jen who is in a band called Middle Class Fashion.
I've heard of them.
And I
don't know if I played with them before. We might have over the years.
That would be cool. They're great, but I remember when they first started, we were renting studio space at the same warehouse thing. And I've always thought she was like if Ben Folds, you know Ben Folds?
Oh, I'm familiar.
If Ben Folds and Judy Garland had a baby, it would be Jen. That's what I've always said.
Might have to meet this Jen then before I leave town.
Yeah, she's great. Her dad, at least, was the proprietor of the Steinway Piano Room we have here in town. And then I used to work for a lady that cut his hair.
Oh, nice.
And I think she still works there. And so I think that's what it's called, the Steinway Piano Room. And just where you can go, order one, I guess.
Yeah.
And so everything's very much like piano-based, but because it's piano-based and not guitar-based, it's definitely got a different movement and a different...
of course.
Swing, I'll say. Can I say swing? Am I allowed to say swing? And then Ellen Cook, Ellen Hilton Cook?
That I think I played with her years ago.
I think she was in a band called Bagheera. And
we might have played with them too. I've played so many shows in St. Louis.
Yeah.
But it's been a while. And I can't always attach names to faces.
Because she's a piano-based songwriter, too. And I just mentioned that because there's not a ton of them. I play keyboard out of necessity. I was a guitar player first.
Yeah, I understand that.
You know what I mean? And it's fun, and I love it. But I didn't have any classical training or whatnot. But Alan's a songwriter who... Again, it's built around the piano. So some of the and she has these great instrumental segments. Like she's not just singing over piano. She'll play with a drummer, or she does a lot of electronic stuff now, but where they have these big instrumental movements that I feel like is valuable because it's not as common.
I think letting the music speak for itself without having to sing over it sometimes is really great.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it. Is singing something you approach reluctantly because
I love singing.
Okay, me too. But it's weird. A lot of people that write songs, they're like, that's the famous thing about Bob Dylan or Jimi Hendrix. It's like, I have to sing it myself because I wrote it and to really get the full thing out of it. But I always wanted to be a singer.
I would love, there's a few songs that I'll be singing on June 9th where I won't be playing an instrument, I'll just be singing.
Yeah.
Ideally, I would love to just do that.
Yeah.
I love playing instruments, but I love handing it off to someone, seeing their interpretation of my pieces.
Yeah.
And then I can just either conduct it or get up there and steal the show and just sing in front of it. I love it.
Yeah, because in the process of composing, I certainly love adding multiple instruments. I have an electric ukulele and
nice.
like stuff like that. That like you want, but live I get less and less interested in dragging all that stuff out.
It's difficult
because I did it all to support the vocal. I wanted to compose vocals, and you know what I mean, and support it with instruments. When you look at my pedal board, somebody told me online one time, that's a lot of buttons for a singer. But
I can see that, yeah.
But that's the part of it is because you create this whole, you get to create your own background from scratch of what you're going to communicate the vocal with. I guess I wouldn't anticipate you'd be a reluctant singer having composed a musical.
I would love to do. I have another musical in mind that it would be very difficult to make. But on the subject of the equipment, it brought to mind years ago when Manja was still open on South Grand. We played a marathon nonstop 4-hour set where we played 72 songs. Now, we brought so many instruments that we not only took up the stage, but the first few tables and everything. People had to walk around and go to the bathroom. Yeah. It was a great show, though. I really enjoyed that.
One time I was blackout drunk by the time I got pulled for the open mic there. I don't drink anymore, so I talk about this because it's funny, because it's the past. And by the time because it didn't start till like 11, so I sign up right away, but I don't get called until like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm hammered.
Oh yeah.
And then so I get up there and I do Wicked Games by Chris Isaak.
Okay, I'm not familiar, but
you would know it if you heard it. You've heard it in like a Best Buy or something, and it's like but I kept falling asleep, I think, in the middle of it. But my buddy was playing drums, and then I had a friend singing with me, so it wasn't like too unruly. But then at the end, I was like, "Oh, we did it!" And I looked at my girlfriend, and I was like, "Should I do another one?" She's like, "No, no.
Get out while you're ahead." Yeah,
yeah, you did it. You're fine. Baby brother's here doing some laundry. He's on this show a lot too, so the audience knows who that is. So, are the songs from the musical streaming anywhere other than YouTube, or are they just on
they're all over the place.
They're on the Spotify and the
everything.
whatnot.
It's just somewhere in Old Missouri soundtrack.
Okay, somewhere in Old Missouri, because I definitely want people to draw attention to that. I've seen it in my recommended on YouTube, and I didn't know what it was yet.
Nice.
But I remembered the name.
Yeah.
And so when you said that, I was like, I know that. And I didn't realize that I was, going to meet somebody that was involved in it. So I hadn't clicked on it yet. But we're all going to click on it now.
Well, and the director and I watched it a few weeks ago, and in hindsight, I was very proud of it at the time, but looking back on it, I can only see its faults now. I don't want to deter anyone from enjoying it.
Yeah.
But
I have the opposite experience. Like when I'm trying to finish something, I feel like I can't finish it because it's not perfect. But then once I move on to something else and it's released and I can't necessarily go back and change it, I feel more liberated by it and I kind of enjoy it more.
I felt that as well. But in this particular case, with all the moving parts and components that go into a film,
and the learning over time.
True. It's just so. I can't see beyond those at this time. Maybe in a few years I'll watch it again and be like, "Oh, that was great."
Yeah.
The soundtrack, I stand by that though. The soundtrack, the recordings are spot on.
Yeah. And so if I wanted, is there if I search Drogo on like Spotify or something, am I also going to find the Mother Meat stuff?
Mother Meat is not on there.
Okay.
It's all over the Bandcamp.
Oh, that's perfect.
Our first album and third album are on YouTube. The second album I have erased from history because I wasn't happy with it. It's not available anywhere. I destroyed all remaining physical copies that I had holding on to. The fourth album I think is only on Bandcamp. I'd like to re-release them though because there is some good music on there.
Yeah, and that's always the thing I think about too, like doing like a compilation, but like a re-recording from scratch.
That would be nice.
Of like not entire releases of mine, but like my favorite songs kind of collectively. But then also it's not like, I don't know that that's, you always got to ask yourself artistically, like, do I keep going back and fixing things or do I, move forward?
Well, one perspective. So being a huge Frank Sinatra fan, he recorded songs at the beginning of his career And then throughout his career, he was making different versions of them with different ensembles, giving them a new perspective. It's not like he was like being like a George Lucas and trying to correct his mistakes.
Yeah.
He was just giving you his new interpretation of the song, his new way of doing it. And since you have so many different recordings to pick from, it enriches the experience, I think.
Yeah.
So,
and I think live stuff is going to come back. I think live albums have the ability to sound better now than ever. And as like we were joking about before, with AI and everything, the idea of just making something that sounds good or interesting is going to be less important than people enjoying watching somebody interact with their instrument. You know what I mean? I think people are going to prefer to, especially people like us that
I hope
enjoy certain instruments or play a few.
Yeah.
That's what I realized was a huge part. The reason I still play guitar is because it's not just about making songs that sound good, because I could just do that with piano.
Of course.
But that lots of people play guitar.
Yeah.
So if you play guitar, they want to talk to you about it.
Of
They're
course.
paying attention to another layer of the thing that they don't get to talk about as much. Keyboard players don't really get as much of that. They'll be like, oh, I like your one keyboard. I'm like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have one? You know what I mean?
Then you get into piano collectors.
No, I've never heard those two words together.
Well, I had 2 pianos at my studio, and then
that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, but that's a real niche. If you can have more than one nice piano, then kudos to you.
I remember that there's a documentary about John Lennon's final period in his life where he had a studio in his house, I guess.
Okay.
But they had like 4 different upright pianos, like in a little room, and it wasn't even like enough space to like mic them good. I'm like, why have so many pianos? And
well, maybe he was a better piano player than I can imagine. His style, I don't think, really warrants having more than one. But I guess he has the funds.
Yeah, and I think they, sounded different. And I remember this was part of the thing in the making of Green Day's "American Idiot" when he goes to do the acoustic guitar riff for "Wake Me Up When September Ends." He does it on one acoustic guitar, and he tries the exact same thing on another one.
Where are diapers?
Oh, top right drawer.
I didn't see anything.
The closet. In the closet, there's the hanging thing. There's tons in there. Baby brother asking for diapers.
Nice.
I'm just grateful No, oh, it's for you? Oh, I got bigger ones out back. The cut that. But yeah, the idea that like to the audience, especially the non-musician audience, the exact brightness or whatever attack of a certain, especially stringed instrument, doesn't necessarily translate as well. No. But we spend so much time on that.
When you're intimate with it and when you're really in it, you can really tell.
Yeah, and you can start to kind of make choices around it. I saw a thing the other day of DJ Khaled just hitting one pad over and over again and said, "Okay, now make that real bright. I like my shit bright." And that's the thing too, because I mean, I've been in bands where we belabor over, did the drums sound right, do the vocals sit in the mix the right way, and eventually, you kind of have to live with it and kind of put it out.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely kind of a live with it guy. I don't identify as a perfectionist. I identify as more of a preparedness.
Yeah,
I don't know what you would call it, but you prepare as much as you can. And the result is the result. And
also in a positive way, though, the preparedness can allow you to be more free with it on stage.
I could say, yeah.
Yeah, because you're not like little embellishments or whatnot. If you're really struggling to just recite the material, it's not the same as if you really know what you're doing because you're prepared. You can have a little fun.
Yeah.
And it feels better. It makes a little more sense.
Of course.
We're coming up on our hour here, but I want to kind of summarize some of the things I want people to go back out for is Somewhere in Old Missouri on YouTube. It's a musical, but you added some things.
Yeah, it's a supernatural Midwestern musical.
Yeah.
Midwestern being key because there's a lot of Westerns, a Midwestern has a different feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. And also the show's coming up on Monday. That's why we're shooting this today so we can have it out by then. That's June 9th at the Focal Point, a Drogo's Farewell. That sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. There's a velvet tuxedo involved. There's going to be a marimba.
Oh, marimba and vibraphone.
And vibraphone both.
Oh, yeah.
And tickets are going to be available at the door. That day we're releasing a album called
Step Inside the Circle.
I didn't want to get it wrong. Step Inside the Circle's coming out that same day, and then you're cutting the show as a live recording.
Yes.
That'll also secede somewhere in the future.
Video and audio.
Perfect. I love all of that. And are you having any separation anxiety about leaving St. Louis?
Oh, yeah. Some days I'm like, oh, this was a great idea. Some days like, oh, this is a terrible idea.
Yeah. And so what are some of your favorite things about St. Louis?
Candidly, St. Louis isn't for me. My favorite place in St. Louis is Forest Park.
That's a good one. It's twice as big as Central Park in New York.
It's a very good park.
Yeah.
I exercise there, and I love to just sometimes just walk around. St. Louis is very relaxed, which it doesn't really coincide with my lifestyle, but it's nice.
Yeah.
To have roads that are easy to drive on and stuff. Mostly, I'm just worried about the future, and I don't like being away from my marimba or vibraphone. But you know, when you want something, you give up something of equal value.
Yeah.
So that's just part of it.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to sum that up. That if you want something, you give up something of equal value. That's hard.
And it's up to you to decide what the value is, too. That's the other tricky part.
Yeah. Well, I've absolutely loved getting to meet you. I can't wait for the show on Monday. Usually I'm free on Tuesdays, and for some reason my Tuesday filled up and leaving my Monday empty. I think it's meant to be.
Hey, you come on down.
And it's all going to be documented, but I think it's going to be a really special experience to witness in person. So if you could squeeze in the door amongst all the people that I'm sure are eager to get there, I would love to see you there personally. And for the show, hit us up at patreon.com/JacobVWeekly and caddyshackil.org. Is there like a link tree or a landing page you want me to send people to, or just I think your name will give them I'm going to give them the link to the show.
That's good.
That's the best thing. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Because I've memorized all my links by now, but sometimes it's easier just to I'll put it in the comments. And we'll be back next week. Drogo, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you very much.
I'm so excited to get to see this show and get to hear more about it. You only prepared the one piece?
I can play another if you like.
You're welcome to, if you would like to, since we're all set up there.
Let's try it.
Okay, cool.
Alrighty. This mic was fed this over here.
Oh, yeah. No. Is it still rolling? Yeah, just because it's harder to sync if one of them takes a break and the other one doesn't.
All right. I hope I'm prepared. I have that show in a few days. Okie dokie. All right. Let's see. What do I got here? I think the piano became a little quieter on my headphones. All right, I think I can roll with that.
Okay, cool.
All right. Should we reposition the...
I got it zoomed in here. I think it's going to look fine.
Cool. Awesome.
I got it.
Well,
I got it pictured up on my phone here. That's why I keep looking down at it.
Cool. This piece is entitled "How I Feel Today." I would like to dedicate this to Mr. Fred Rogers. Actually, inspired me to write this piece. How I feel today, much like the day before, but a little more like tomorrow. Time's borrowed, time lends no sorrow, something I'll provide. How I felt back then. Should have kept it in a jar and saved it for times like these. Oh, mercy, please. Time is a cruel disease, but it's not your enemy. So spend it wisely and keep the receipt. Now, much like a bit ago, but who knows? By next minute, when you're in it, a second is infinite, easy to get lost. How I'll feel 30 years from today. Who'll be around to say when my eyes and my skies turn blue to gray? Yea to nay, hope I'll have a new tune to play, or will my mind still stray to how I felt today? A picture I should have taken. I was mistaken to think that I would always feel that way. How I feel today. Perhaps I don't want to say, but who cares? Anyway, on the road, somewhere along the way I strayed. I still have today. A little rough around the edges, but
No,
there it
that's
was.
so great. I'm so glad we did it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Joe, you can hit stop.